Hello everyone, I Dr. Kirti Sahu welcome you all to this video lecture on partial differential equation. In this video lecture, we shall discuss various applications of partial differential equation as well as we will have some basic concepts regarding partial differential equation. Along with this, we will study Lagrange's equation, which is very important for the solution of partial differential equation. So let us begin with applications. So partial differential equation has wide application in various fields. So the most prominent types of partial differential equations are heat equation, wave equation, Laplace equation, transport equation, Poisson equation, Schrödinger equation and the Berger equation. All these equations are modeled and then used to solve various day-to-day life problems. So let us have the definition. So a partial differential equation is an equation involving two or more independent variables. I am taking independent variables as x and y and a dependent variable z with its partial derivatives. Now what is meant by order? So order of partial differential equation is order of highest order partial derivative appearing in the equation. Now let us move on to the next, that is degree. So what is meant by degree? Just like ordinary differential equation, in partial differential equation, the degree is exponent of highest order partial derivative present in the equation after making it free from all radical sign and the fractional powers. So let us try to understand these concepts with the help of example. So let us have first partial differential equation. Here the highest order derivative is 1, that's why order is 1, and if you see its power, that is also 1. Now similarly, let us have the next example. Here the highest order derivative is 2, these are the two second order derivatives, that's why order of this differential equation is 2, and if you observe the power of this highest order derivative, that is 1, therefore the degree is 1. Let us see some few more important definitions. So a partial differential equation of first order, what does it mean? So the general form of this differential equation is f of xyz pq equal to 0, where xy are the two independent variables, z is a dependent variable and p and q are the derivative of z with respect to x and y respectively, right? Now what is meant by linear partial differential equation? So just like ordinary differential equation, a partial differential equation is said to be linear if the dependent variable and its partial derivative are of the degree 1 and no product of z and its derivative occurs together in the equation. It's called linear differential equation. Now here we will have few more definitions. So you can see this example. The order of derivative is 1, p and q, degree 1, and no product of p and q with z occurs over here, as well as the degree of z is also 1. Now here we have one more important definition, quasi-linear partial differential equation. So a differential equation of the form p of xyz into p plus q of xyz into q is equal to r of xyz, where small p and q are obviously a derivative of dependent variable z with respect to x and y respectively. So here you will find that the degree of p and q is 1, right? But here you will also find the product of p and q with the dependent variable. That's why it is called quasi-linear partial differential equation. Example is this: what we find, the degree of P and Q 1 as well as Z is also 1, but we find a product of dependent variable with a derivative. Hence it is quasi-linear partial differential equation. Now let us see the next, what is meant by non-linear. So we know very well any equation which is not linear is called non-linear, right? So example is this. So you will find that the degree of derivative, right, is 1, whereas the power of Z is not 1, it is 2. So this is non-linear partial differential equation. Let us have some important terminologies. So this is our standard form of first order partial differential equation. What is mean by complete solution? So any function f of x, y, z, a, b equal to 0 involving two arbitrary constants a and b, and which satisfies the equation 1, differential equation 1, is called the complete solution or a complete integral or a primitive of the partial differential equation. Now what does it mean by general solution? So any arbitrary function phi of the specific given functions is called general solution. So here I am denoting general solution by phi, and the independent solutions are uv, right? So phi of uv equal to 0 is called general solution. So here u and v are the known functions of x, y, z. Now what does it mean by homogeneous partial differential equation? So if each term of a partial differential equation contains either the dependent variable or one of its partial derivative, right, then such equations are said to be homogeneous, otherwise it is said to be non-homogeneous. Now, so let us come to the important part of this topic, that is Lagrange's linear partial differential equation. So the standard form of Lagrange's linear partial differential equation is Pp plus Qq equal to R, where Pa, Q and R all are the functions of x, y, z. Its general solution is given by phi of uv equal to 0, where phi is the arbitrary function of the two independent solutions u and v, where these independent solutions are obtained by solving the Lagrange's auxiliary equation. So this equation is called as a Lagrange's auxiliary equation, or also called as subsidiary equation. Now what is the working rule to find out the solution of the Lagrange's auxiliary equation, right? So what we have? So first of all, write the given differential equation in the standard form, that is Pp plus Qq equal to R. Then form the corresponding Lagrange's auxiliary equation as dx by p equal to dy by q equal to dz by r. Then after getting this, solve this Lagrange's auxiliary equation by one of the following methods. The methods are method of grouping, method of substitution, and method of multiply. So by applying this method, you will get two independent solutions, u is equal to a and v equal to b. Remember, u and v must be linearly independent, that is u by v must not be equal to constant, right? Now once we get u and v, then we can write the general solution given by phi of uv equal to 0, or it is also written in other way as phi of u equal to v or phi of v equal to u. All these are nothing but the equivalent forms, so you can write the solution in one of the three equivalent form. So I hope the working rule for a Lagrange's linear partial differential equation is clear to you all. So let us have the first example. Before this, we will discuss first method. What is that? Method of grouping. So what is method of grouping? As the name suggests, you have to group any two fraction or the pair from the Lagrange's auxiliary equation such that the third variable is either absent or is cancelled out, right? Remember, you have to consider two fractions where the third variable must be completely absent, or if it is present, then it should have a scope of cancellation, right? Okay, so based on this, let us solve the first example. So as per the working rule, let us write it in the standard form. So it is already in the standard form. We will just find out capital P, Q and R. So capital P is coefficient of small p. So here capital P is x. Then capital Q is coefficient of small q. That is here y, and the right hand side gives you z, r, that is z. So we will write Lagrange's auxiliary equation. So that is given by dx by p equal to dy by q equal to dz by r. We'll substitute p, q and r over here, right? So what we get? So now I have to apply the method. So we'll have to see the possibilities, which two fractions we can consider. So here I can consider first two fractions. Why? Because here the variable of integration variable is nothing but x dx. So x dy. So variable of variable is y. So here if I consider first two fraction, I should have completely x and y, or if z is there, that should be cancelled out. So I am here observing x and y completely, so I can consider first two fraction. Similarly, here is the you can consider second and third also, as well as first and third also, but we want only two solution, so we'll consider only two pair, right, to get the two independent solutions. So as there is a possibility of getting the third solution, comparing third pair also, so in this case the solution of the differential equation is not unique. Okay, according to the pair which you consider, you will get different solutions. So remember, the solution of partial differential equation need not be unique. Okay, now so let us consider first two fraction. Now this is a variable separable form, so just integrate. What is the integration of 1 by x is log x, integration of 1 by y is log y plus log a. Now integrate this, so what we get? So log x minus log y equal to log a. So log of x by y equal to log a. Log will get cancelled, you will get x by y is equal to a. That is u is nothing but x by y. Leave this constant a, you will get u. Okay. Now similarly, I can consider second, third fraction or first, third fraction. Here I am considering second and third fraction. Do it in the same way as we did earlier above, right? So on integration we get y by z equal to b, so that is v equal to y by z. So now we have obtained the two independent solutions u and v. So we are able to write the final general solution, that is given by f of phi of u v equal to 0, or so substituting u and v, you will get phi of x by y, y by z equal to 0. Remember, here phi is just a notation. You can write in place of phi f, g, h like this. Only thing is that I will suggest not to use the symbol which is used earlier in the problem, right? So here you can write f also, capital F, small f, g like this, okay, because that denotes arbitrary functions. So I hope this problem is clear to you all. Okay, so let us move on to the next example. So that is solve p tan x plus q times tan y equal to tan z. It is in the standard form. Identify p, q and r. So that comes out to be tan x, tan y, tan z respectively. Write down Lagrange's auxiliary equation. Now again, check the possibility of considering the pair. I can consider the first and second pair because it is completely involving x and y. I can consider second, third as it involves y and z completely, and I have the possibility of considering third also, that is first and third pair, because this involves completely x and z. So let us start with considering first two fraction. Now I can write it as cot x dx equal to cot y dy, which on integration gives us the integration of cot x is nothing but log of sin x. So integration of this comes out to be log of sin y plus log a. Now we will write it as log of sin x minus log of sin y equal to log a. Now log of sin x minus log of sin y can be written as log of sin x by sin y, isn't it, equal to log a. Taking anti-log, log will get cancelled. What we are left with, sin x upon sin y equal to a. Okay, so now we have this arbitrary constant on one side. Right, so we will write first solution, leave this constant. So what you will have? You will have u equal to sin x by sin y. Similarly, by considering say second and third fraction, I will get the solution on a similar line, that is v equal to sin y by sin z. Therefore the general solution is given by f of u v equal to 0, where u is sin x by sin y, v is sin y by sin z. In this way we get the solution. Now let us have the next one, that is solve y square z xp plus z square x cube equal to y square. First we will rewrite it in the standard form. So I'll multiply by x, find out p, q and r, write Lagrange's auxiliary equation. Now let us check the possibility. Can we consider first and second? So answer is yes, we can consider first and second, because even though third variable z is there, it will get cancelled out easily. Okay, now so what we have, we will write it as x square dx equal to y square dy, which on integration gives us x cube by 3 equal to y cube by 3. Now here notice one thing, as I am getting on integration, each term is divided by 3, so I'll write constant of integration as also a by 3, just to match up with the remaining terms. Okay, now 3 will get cancelled, shift all variable term on one side so as to get arbitrary constant on another side, right? So this gives us u. So what is u? U is x cube minus y cube. Similarly, now is there any possibility of considering second and third fraction? So answer is no, because even if the variable x gets cancelled, but it does not get cancelled completely, so I cannot consider second and third fraction. So I'll have the option of considering the first and third fraction. Here y square will get cancelled completely, x and z, rearrange the term, integrate and get the answer. So therefore general solution is given by this one, right? So method is very easy, simple to understand, right? So far one thing you might have noticed, that every time when I am considering the fractions, so we will get the form as variable separable, right? Which on integration gives you the solution. So does it means that the method 1 involves the simplification of fraction only by the method of separation of variable? So the answer is no. So let us see what is its another way of solving. So here we have the equation, right? We can consider first two fraction, integrate this, we get solution in this way. Similarly, can I consider second and third? Yes. Is there any possibility of considering first and third fraction? So answer is no, because here y is in the addition or subtraction. Remember one thing, when it is in addition or subtraction present in one of the term, then there is no possibility of cancellation. So I have no possibility of considering the first and third fraction. Hence the solution of this equation will be always unique, because here you are getting only two solutions, one by considering first and second fraction, and second by considering for second and third fraction. Okay, now so in order to solve this equation, we have the two options. Let us discuss them. So it is, first option is, you will rearrange the terms, you will rewrite it in this way. Now what we observe, it is in the form of linear differential equation in z. Here z is a dependent variable. Let us recall what is meant by linear differential equation. So the form is dy by dx plus p of x into y equal to q of x when y is dependent variable and x is independent variable. So here what we do, we find out integrating factor, which is given by this formula, and ultimately we have the solution, which is given by dependent variable into integrating factor equal to integration of the right hand side into integrating factor plus constant of integration. Apply this over here. See here, dependent variable is z, independent variable is y. So we need to find out integrating factor. So p of y over here is 1 by y. So it is e raised to power integration of p of y, integration with respect to y. So it is e raised to power log y. E and log will get cancelled. What we have, y. So therefore solution is dependent variable is z. So z into integrating factor. So y equal to integration of right hand side, that is 2 into y dy plus b. Now integrate and get the answer. So what we have, y square yz equal to y square plus b, that is shift all the variable term on one side, so we get yz minus y square equal to b. Like this we get the first solution. So this is according to option 1. Now what is option 2 for solving this equation, right? These two fractions, right? So what is this option 2? Option 2 is, we will consider this. What we do is simply cross multiply and rearrange the terms, collect all the terms. So what we find here, according to the formula, this is nothing but derivative of differential of y into z. This is a differential of y into z, and this is a differential of y square, which on integration gives us yz equal to y square plus b, that is yz minus y square equal to b. So therefore leave this constant. So what is our second independent solution? That is v equal to yz minus y square. So like this we can write the general solution, that is phi of u equal to 0, substitute u and v. So I hope the concept is clear to you all, right? So here in this video lecture we have discussed first method to solve the Lagrange's auxiliary equation. In the next video lecture we shall discuss the other two methods to solve the Lagrange's auxiliary equation. I hope the method discussed in this video lecture must be clear to you all. So thank you for watching the video.